First thing we need to do is to make sure that we understand how AutoCAD connects to your PDF printer. And to do that, go to your control panel, and in control panel go to printers. In the printers, you can see all the different printers we have. Here's the Adobe PDF printer, and this is a virtual printer, which is similar to like a real desktop printer that might print 8.5 by 11. The difference here is that a virtual printer can print whatever paper size you want that you can think of, whereas these physical printers, they're limited to, whatever type of printer you bought, 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, or whatever size paper can go in there, and that's it. So the way that you build a new paper size for this printer is you right-click and go to Printing Preferences. This dialog box shows the defaults for this printer, and right now we have letter, which is 8.5 by 11. So those are all the settings that you can see. Now within AutoCAD you can get to this same dialog box, but I wanted to make sure that you understood when you see that come up in AutoCAD where you really are. You're really over here working with the settings in the Adobe PDF printer. Okay, so I have a test file here that we can work on. What we're going to do is create a PDF 24 by 36 quarter scale print of this. So one of the other things we need to make sure we understand is in here you have your plotter manager, and these are all the plotters that are set up in my AutoCAD. And you can see like there's a physical DesignJet T1100 printer. There's also an 8.5 by 11 printer that prints 11 by 17 as well. Those are physical printers. But see this whole set here. This is coming from the PDF printer that we talked about. So what we want to do is create one of these like this, and I'm going to show you how to do that. These are all the ones that I've already built, but you need to understand how to build that. So that's what we're going to do now. So back in our AutoCAD, what you want to do is from your Model tab, you right-click and say New Layout, and this new layout pops up, and the system creates this default kind of 8.5 by 11 thing that's not to scale, just so you can see what to start with. If you double click on this tab, you can name it something that makes sense to what you're going to have it do. So in this case it'd be 24 by 36 PDF. You can name it whatever you want. So once it's named, then right click on it and go to Page Setup Manager, and then go to Modify, and then this dialog box lets you build the page, set the scale, the paper size, and which printer it's going to go to, and all of that. So because we're going to build a PDF, we want to start with our PDF printer that we were looking at in the first part of this video, which is right here. So this is the generic starter PDF printer. And once we've selected that, then we go to its properties and make sure this is on Custom Properties here, and select Custom Properties button, and guess what? There's that dialog box. So now we're actually, AutoCAD has given us a way to tunnel our way over to the settings of the actual PDF printer. in this dialog box where paper size is, the default, as we saw before, is letter. If you do this pull down, you'll see like all these different paper sizes these that have been built over time. So what we're going to do is create one. We're going to call it 24 by 36 example. Let's put PDF just to remind us what it is. Our width is 36 and the height is 24, and you just add, modify. Now we've created it and we've added it to this list, so now we need to find it. So here it is, right here, this one. And now that we've set that to this properties in the printer, you can hit OK. So when that's done, you just hit OK, and then we need to give it a name that AutoCAD will use. So we can call it something like, I'm just going to call this an example. 4 by 36 PDF, and hit OK. Now the name that we just gave pops into here, and in this dialog box we can see that we have that paper size that we built. Remember what it is and you connect it there. And you can see in your little graphic here that we have the 24 by 36. So the only thing left to do here is to set the scale. So this is a quarter scale, and then just make sure your pens are correct. That's like a whole nother video to do pens. Say OK and close. Now that we've built our 24 by 36 PDF page that you can see right here, what we need to do is get our graphic onto the page in the scale and all of that we want. And the way you do that is come down here, because your actual drawing is down in the corner. If you set your crosshair diagonal to the bottom left, use your roller on your mouse and like zoom in on it, you can see that these dashed lines, this is your viewable window on the PDF page. So everything outside of this won't print. So what you want to do is grab your model and just drag these window bars or whatever you call them to the outside so they don't print. Because all we want to see is this title block and what's in it. And then if you use your roller again, kind of keep coming down here and zoom back out, come up to this top corner, zoom in and set it there, and then just type zoom extents. It'll show us the whole page, and now we have our border up there. And then click inside and go zoom extents again, and it'll bring up the whole drawing now. At this point, it's not to scale, it's just zoomed max to the window. So again, if you type zoom and then scale, and then if you go 11xp, it'll set the scale to what you programmed in the tab. See how it went down a little bit? So now you can just use this little hand up here and then just drag your image onto the paper where you want it to be. And I like to set these kind of little margins here, something that looks equal, top, bottom, and right hand side. And then this side over here is for your binding. so just leave that wider. Hit escape to get out of the hand, and then double click outside the PDF page, and it's all set up. At this point, we're actually ready to create the PDF. And the way you do that is you just come up to the printer icon, click that, and this little dialog box comes up, shows you what you created in the tab, all the settings you have. So you can, in a way, it's just you can double check here and make sure that's what you are trying to create. You can use this little preview button down here, and you can see what the PDF is going to look like. If you need to, you can use your roller and like zoom in so you can read text or whatever if you need to. And if you're done previewing, you just hit escape key and it'll put you back to this box, and then you just click OK. Now this is where you create your file name, so I'm just going to say example, hit enter, and there's our PDF.